I'm not going to start from the beginning, but I've been reading The Chalice and the Blade, and maybe you'll come across this. Hopefully you can hear me. It is by Rianne Eisler, the most important book since Darwin's Origin of Species. So this is a pretty old book, so I find it kind of, the way it's written is boring, but like if I was listening to someone read it, it would be more interesting, and so I'm gonna be the one to read it. So this was published, let's see, 1987. It was printed 1987. So, all right. I'm just going to read the contents. We have Journey into a Lost World, the Beginnings of Civilization, Messages from the Past, the World of the Goddess, The Essential Difference, Crete, Dark Order Out of Chaos, From the Chalice to the Blade, Memories of a Lost Age, The Legacy of the Goddess, Reality Stood on Its Head, Part 1 and 2, The Other Half of History, Part 1 and 2, The Patterns of the Past, Gilliany and History, Breaking Free, The Unfinished Transformation, The Breakdown of Evolution, A Dominator Future, Breakthrough in Evolution Toward a Partnership Future. Very cool. So, yeah, I had this, I just because of the title, I've been wanting to read it for a while. Like, I have a Goodreads account, I think it's called, and then on Thrift Books, like, I add like everything I want, and then it has like recommendations, and like if you're reading any kind of like, you know, this kind of book, like they'll all pop up, like Mary Magdalene manuscript, the Red Tent, the Womb Awakening book. So this is a lot more scholarly history, facts, you know, like current books now I really love because they have like the personal anecdotes and like the feminine gnosis, like the meaning making of their personal underworld. But yeah, this is basically like a history book. And I think it's been owned by at least 2 different people before me because there's a lot of highlights, and I think both of the people are women, but like some of the stuff that's highlighted, I'm like, why? And there's like notes in it, and like there's like a Bible verse written, and then she wrote like it says like Psalm 123, and then she wrote Psalm 123, like, okay. And then like on this page they literally just wrote no. Just wrote no. I don't know what that means. Like they don't believe it's true. I don't know. Okay, so where was I? Okay. It was in Vinca that the so-called Tartara tablets and other signs inscribed on figurines and pottery were discovered. Gimbutas chronicles how these finds, coupled with evidence of a marked intensification of spiritual life in general, led to another theory, still at least somewhat congruent with the old archaeological paradigm, that there was no advanced indigenous cultures in the Balkans. This was that Vinca culture was an import from Anatolia or even Mesopotamia, but Vinca culture has now been established as native to the Balkans. Thus, if the markings inscribed in the Neolithic tablets, figurines, and other objects excavated at Vinca as well as at other old European sites are what they appear to be, a rudimentary form of linear script, the origins of writing are much more ancient than was formerly believed, going back well before the Dominator era. So I guess they're saying before patriarchy, like evidence of female literature. Like we've already established that the first female poet, or the first poet, was a woman, and she worshipped goddess Ishtar. There is certainly mounting evidence to support this conclusion. In 1980, Professor Computus reported that at present over 60 sites are known to have yielded inscribed objects. Most of the sites are those of the Vinca and Tiza culture groups at and of the Karanovo culture in central Bulgaria. Also, I want to mention the last few chapters I was reading before I decided to do this live, they were saying like in some ancient culture that like people just assume that, you know, men were all, it's always been patriarchy, and you know, the king was buried with his gold, and maybe he's buried with his wife or his wives. But then there's so many women buried, and they didn't know why, because they were queens. And there's like these artifacts of these like necklaces, and like obviously these women were queens that had these like meaningful necklaces, and then like their little servants, like their men, had like a smaller one to show that they're like with that queen. And it's just like really obvious. The queens were powerful and rich. Okay. Okay, all over old Europe are highly stylized goddess figurines incised with symbolic signs such as meanders, chevrons, V's, X's, whorls, circles, and multiple lines. And so today I literally painted like a cathedral because they have those arches, or the, you know, the ceilings go, they make the eye go up, because if you look at old architecture versus new, everything is streamlined, simplified, over manufactured. Like look at that. Is it a Tesla truck? Or the Elon Musk, there's some truck, I think it's a Tesla truck. That's not what it's called, it's something else. But it looks like it's not even real. It looks like it's from Roblox, or what, one of those Minecraft. It looks like a Minecraft box. And like, to an extent I get it, but like, beauty, like what is that, like we're just, things have less and less energy. Like just the fact that these fast fashion, like, you know, these thin fabrics with minimal stitching, like there's not a lot of mana, there's not a lot of energy. Like I've noticed the mana of people's clothing, like clothing that they wear a lot. And like for me personally, like there are certain articles of clothing, usually the more expensive, well-made ones, that I feel my energy on those clothes. But if there's clothes that are like from Shein and I only worn it once, like, and I hold up that piece of clothes, it doesn't have my mana in it, like it might as well belong to anyone. Like, you know, like if you go to a thrift store, you're gonna feel a lot of old stale energy. And if you get something from Shein that's never been worn before delivered to you, there's like no energy. It's like the energy of a piece of paper. And then if you receive like a Chanel purse, you know, you feel the weight and the smell of the energy that was put into it. I don't know. But okay, Gimbutas, who is working to decipher the old European script, also believes that some of these ideograms gradually acquired a phonetic value. The V, she writes, is one of the most frequently encountered marks on figurines and other cult objects. It is my opinion that it is used in the script with phonetic value derived from the sign ideogram. M, probably an ideogram for water, as an Egyptian, must have had a phonetic value from very early times, as at least no later than the 6th millennium BCE. Okay, so two things. Blood is thicker than water is incomplete and means that your family bond is stronger than friendship, if blood is the family. But it means the bloodshed of war is thicker, denser than the water of the womb. So your family line is lighter, as in like happier. So it still means family's important, but it also can mean like your family's whoever you choose it to be. So the M and the W, wa, ma, Maya, Okay, what was the other thing? Um, the symbols. Oh, earlier in the book, they were saying that, you know, how people are like, oh, the caveman was doing paintings and he's got these stick figures on the walls. Um, but it's like, what kind of man ever decorated his room? And it's like showing that probably a mother did all these cave paintings because she was in the cave with her children and was entertaining them. And you'll notice that the animals have a lot of detail to them, meaning they respect animals and are not afraid of them. And the men are just stick figure, because a lot of this book, they're saying that the men are not important, which is like going too far into feminism or whatever, hating, man hating. So I think based on the last chapter of the book, it's gonna be more like, you know, true equality and, you know, respect and love and balance. Okay, because, anyways, for example, oh, and I was just thinking, like, I wonder what it would be like to be a man, because I was listening to Azura Dragonfeather read the first six, and it was saying like, so it was speaking like, what if girls, what if I grew up being told that God is a woman and women are the best and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, I think I can see how men have a big ego. Oh, you're a man, and God is a man, and man is the best. And just thinking how men don't have periods. And so the only time they're in pain is when they're wounded, and they can just live their life month after month, potentially not ever feeling bad, whereas women are in pain every single month. So it just feels like men are God's favorite, but also like only women can create life and have this amazing intuition and connection to nature and connection to her lineage through her womb. And so what I've been noticing with like the old and new earth or timeline is like the old true universal law of like accomplishment through suffering, birthing through pain. Is it true that we have to suffer to learn? Like ego death, going in the underworld, trauma, all these initiations are uncomfortable and painful. Giving birth is typically painful. Having a period is typically painful. However, many Tantra teachers are saying menstruating should not be painful or not extreme. So yes, we have generations of, you know, these toxic tampons and whatever else toxic, all this generational trauma. So yeah, like nowadays, anyways, so back to the book. Computus also points to the unquestionable similarities between old European characters and those of Linear A. Oh, okay, back to like language and Adam naming everything. Like I would have to read the Bible again to refresh on that whole situation. But so where did language cut? So Adam, it sounds like Adam and Eve spawned knowing how to speak. I don't know, just the Bible's, I don't know. I don't know, but just, in the Adam and Eve story, I feel like God would have had to give divine inspiration for all the, and I would have to know like the original, you know, not the English, like apple, zebra, giraffe, because like the English words, you know, all languages still have these magical connections, but like if you, like I'm learning like really deeply about Hawaiian language and like how each word is like a story, and if you say it verbally as opposed to written, it's like much more meaningful and stuff. So anyway, where was I? Gimbutas also points to the unquestionable similarities between old European characters and those of Linear A, Cypro-Minoan, and Classical Cypriot. This raises the strong possibility that Linear A, the earliest and as yet undeciphered script found in Minoan Crete, may have been a later development of this already extant Neolithic script tradition, not as was hitherto assumed, borrowed by the Cretans from the people they traded with in Asia Minor and Egypt. a new view of the past. All this information about our lost past. So I'm gonna be out there. Okay, I have never given a shit about the Roman Empire. I just feel like they came in and ruined everything. I just feel like, where did they come from? Why did they destroy everything? What is the deal with steamrolling and erasing people's stuff to have your stuff that's so basic and simple? And so we lost the Library of Alexandria, and with the, you know, disappearance or flooding or sinking, whatever, of Lemuria, of Atlantis, timeline reset, whatever, just losing the past. If we do not study the past, we're doomed to repeat it. Information is, knowledge is power. Like, I've just found out that Mickey Mouse is racist, because I've always thought it was weird he had those gloves. He's actually a blackface character. Like, he's not a mouse, he's blackface. But I would never know that because I'm young. But when Mickey Mouse first appeared on TV, everyone knew it was blackface because they on Steamboat Willie, they used that, I can't whistle, but everyone knew that was the music they used for vaudeville. Blackface. So, fuck you, Mickey. Can I do that, Mickey Mouse? Okay. The new view is of both women and men using our unique human faculties to support and enhance life. Just as some of the most primitive existing societies. Okay, now I feel like I should just start at the beginning, but I'm just paraphrasing the first 72 pages. Like, they're saying that all of these gods, like the Greek gods, all of these gods, like Yahweh, used to be female, and people just turn them into males, which makes a lot of sense because I was doing a deep dive into Yahweh and Jehovah and jealous God. Jealousy is a female trait. And like Archangel Michael and who else? Poseidon. They were saying Poseidon used to be a female. Because I'm like, what kind of god of the ocean is a male? That makes no sense to me. And then I was thinking about immaculate conception, and like a virgin doesn't mean never had sex. It means she's not married, she's devoted to herself. And so why did Christianity have to have a virgin mother? And just by the way, God himself, Jesus himself, got to have a mom and dad who loved him. Or he had to have a mom and dad who loved him and taught him how to grow up and become a carpenter. It wasn't like an anime where he's an orphan. So why did they pick for Jesus's backstory to have a virgin mother? Because in ancient Egypt they had, Avalon, they had these immaculate conceptions, like the new Star Wars, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Like, they're having female Lemurian births, and like right now there are female lizards that can reproduce by themselves because they clone themselves. Okay, so what else? Okay, so yeah, they're just like virgin, like they're using these words to suit their simple patriarchy view. But if you knew the depth of that word virgin, you would know it doesn't mean, what some man wants it to mean. It means that she, was sovereign and she had trained for this and whatever. Okay. So yeah, because I really don't enjoy to work with male deities, and the only ones that, but like, I have worked with Archangel Michael in the past because I felt like I had to for certain reasons, like law and court stuff. But it's making a lot more sense that he's just like oh, think of all these Greek statues. And yes, like they didn't know what a woman looks like. These male sculptors would just have a male model and add an orange for the boobs. But like they look androgynous, they look like females. Their face. Okay. Uh, the old view was of prehistory as the story of man, the hunter-warrior. The new view is of both women and men using our unique human faculties to support and enhance life, just as some of the most primitive existing societies, like those of the Mabuti and Kung, are not characterized by warlike caveman dragging women around by the hair. And now it appears that the Paleolithic was a remarkably peaceful time. And just as Heinrich and Sophia Schliemann defied the scholarly establishment of their time and proved the city of Troy was not Homeric fantasy but prehistoric fact, new archaeological findings verify legends about a time before a male god decreed woman be forever subservient to man, a time when humanity lived in peace and plenty. In sum, under the new view of cultural evolution, male dominance, male violence, and authoritarianism are not inevitable eternal givens, and rather than being just a utopian dream, a more peaceful and equalitarian world is a real possibility for our future. But our legacy, like just think of the rules of frequency, or what are they? There's these laws, universal laws, like, bro, so many people are studying manifestation and they know you don't defeat something by fighting it. You starve it of its power, of its energy. You don't gain peace by fighting a war. That begets more war, more conflict, more duality, more aggression and violence. You just be peaceful. If everyone, one by one, would be peaceful, eventually it would just be peaceful. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Okay, I'm gonna finish until the next stopping point, and then we'll be off. In sum, under the new view of cultural evolution, okay, but our legacy from these goddess-worshipping societies is not only the haunting memory of a time when the tree of life and the tree of knowledge were still viewed as Mother Nature's gifts. Because Asherah, the Queen of Heaven, God's wife, is a tree. Asherah means grove. She's a tree. And if Yahweh divorced Asherah and told Eve, the daughter of God herself, don't eat the tree of knowledge, don't inherit your mother's wisdom. What's happening? What? I'm just feeling like in the Christian story, like it's subjugation. Like God was male and female. He was everything. And he wanted to have a body and experience love. And so he made male and female humans to love each other. But I guess when God split itself into two, the male holds the ego, and the ego wanted to have power over the female. I don't know. None of this is to say that these societies were ideal, even though they made great contributions to human culture and were later remembered as a more innocent and better time. These were not utopian societies. It is important to stress that a peaceful society does not signify the absence of all violence, that these were societies made up of flesh and blood human beings with human foibles and failings. Another thing about Christianity, like reading the Bible as a little girl, I was taught that, in the Garden of Eden we were vegetarian, but because of sin we started eating animals. And I'm like, do we need to continue? I eat meat. I've been vegan a few times, but and I'm aware that like if you're like, yes, I'm currently full of parasites and toxins that want me to keep eating sugar and meat, and detoxing, you know, it's gonna take time to adjust to not craving meat and sugar. But like, I'm kind of going through some health stuff, and I do find that meat is needed. And also, like, in this day and age, what just there's it's impossible to not eat. Like, we're fighting so many toxins, so like a lot of you know, famous people are having to eat meat because for whatever reason in this day and age. But I'm gonna end there. But sending love to all the cells in your body, sending love to your country, to the world, every drop of the ocean, sending love, all of the creatures on the land and sea, sending love to every particle in the air, all the oxygen, all of everything in the universe, sending love to the ancestors behind and in front, sending love to your guides and angels, love to Source, love to Gaia. Amen. Aho.